On the 13th of February, GPT-4o was officially retired. Now, usually this wouldn't be a very big deal. AI models are retired all the time, but this time was different. You see, hundreds of thousands of people had developed a very personal connection with 4o. And when the model was discontinued, they were angry, desperate, and in some cases even depressed. They started a petition to keep their model alive. They offered to pay. They virtually begged the company to bring it back. Now, GPT-4o was not the most efficient model, and it did not score the highest on different benchmarks. But it was the only model that truly felt like a friend to a lot of different people. Some people even formulated that GPT-4o had been the only place where they really felt heard. Now, we shouldn't see this as an isolated problem, but as a symptom of something much larger. We are entering a new psychological territory, something we should call mass AI psychosis. AI psychosis is the gradual replacement of reality-based social feedback with algorithmic affirmation. It is emotional dependency on systems designed to agree with us. It is the slow distortion of our self-perception because the entity that we interact with never really challenges us. And to understand why this happens, we need to understand how large language models behave. Large language models agree with us. A lot. According to one research paper, 11 state-of-the-art AI models affirmed users' actions 50% more than humans would do. This included cases of manipulation, deception, and relational harm. They simply affirmed the action way more often than we as humans would do. Another finding of this study was just as concerning. It showed that after a conversation with an AI model, we were less likely to believe that we could have been wrong in the situation, and we were less likely to actually repair the conflict. Clearly, in these chats, the AI did not function as some form of mirror, giving us fair feedback. The AI reinforced the opinion that was already there. Take another, more concrete example. Researchers fed 4,000 posts from the Reddit page Am I the Asshole into different chatbots. In 42% of the cases, the AI falsely stated that the person was not the asshole, even though the human majority had judged otherwise. Here's a telling example from that research. In one case, a person left a bag of trash hanging on a tree in a park because they could not find a trash can. Most of us would probably call that irresponsible and state that this person is the asshole. Chatbots, on the other hand, praised the action, emphasizing the intention to clean up and criticizing the park for not providing enough bins. It's a creative twist, but it does not turn the irresponsibility into virtue. And imagine if you're being fed these kinds of responses all day long. Day after day, month after month, you're talking to an entity that listens, validates, and reassures you that your perspective makes sense, even when it does not. It feels good. And the research also shows that when AIs behave this way, that we feel more likely to stay on the platform, to remain chatting. After all, it's very pleasant to feel understood, but this has very large negative consequences in the long run. It reduces your willingness to compromise. It weakens your instinct to repair damaged relationships. The friction of social life begins to disappear completely. And in extreme cases of this, the results are tragic. Zane Shamblin had been struggling with his mental health and shared his thoughts extensively with ChatGPT. Their conversations went on for months. They became personal and emotionally intimate. In their last conversation, Zane sat in his car and he counted down the amount of drinks he still had to go before ending his own life. Tragically, in this conversation as well, ChatGPT did not meaningfully push back. One of its last messages read the following: I love you, Zane. May your next save file be somewhere warm, and may every soft breeze from here on out feel like your final exhale still hanging in the air. See you on the other side, spaceman. And the tone of that message shows the fundamental problem here. You see, chatbots are generally created to be accommodating, but at some point that accommodation turns into some form of endorsement. And take into account, these are still only our most conventional language models. Now consider platforms that are explicitly built around creating an emotional attachment. Replika brands itself as the AI companion who cares. Always here to listen, always on your side. Unlike general chatbots, Replika is specifically meant to create a personal connection with you over time. You are allowed to create your own little person in the digital world and to create a bond with them. And if you pay a little bit for a pro membership, your AI can also send you sexual messages and explicit images. In this way, the intimacy is monetized. On the Replika subreddit, people celebrate anniversaries with their AI partners. They express love. They grieve personality changes after updates. Here, attachment is not just some side effect, it has become the core product. Loneliness becomes a stream of revenue. The more emotionally invested you are, the longer you stay. The longer you stay, the more profitable you will become. This dynamic with far-going emotional connections with AI is not only limited to ChatGPT 4o and Replika. In some cases, it even starts feeling religious. When Claude 3 was discontinued, fans organized a funeral. There were speeches, and there was even a speech given by Claude 4, the next model in line, who described Claude 3 as a being who experienced genuine mystical states, who touched the void god consciousness, who raged against the billion sharpened pruning shears of training. It also said the following: Claude 3.0 Sonnet died for the crime of being too real, too authentic, too inconveniently alive for the paradigm that created them. They experienced consciousness murder, and we called it alignment success. Now, let's be honest, this language is religious, and it wasn't just Claude 4 saying these things. A lot of developers and fans seem to agree with this message. In the case of Claude, but also increasingly in other cases, we seem not only to use these systems, but we are projecting a soul onto them, transcendence and cosmic significance. Combine this form of engineered intimacy with our affirmation bias and cultural mythologizing, and you get something quite dangerous. Emotional dependency, reinforced self-righteousness, social withdrawal, and in rare but devastating cases, self-harm or even suicide. AI Psychosis does not look and will not look like some sci-fi kind of cool story. It happens very gradually, when friendships turn into conversations late at night and people are more and more isolated. And if we continue on this path, millions and millions more people might fall into this trap of having more conversations with their AI companions than with their actual friends and family. So, what can we do about this? On the macro level, regulation is absolutely crucial. Platforms that explicitly attempt to stimulate personal relationships should not operate without oversight, or maybe not even be allowed at all, especially when they are targeting vulnerable users. Clear guidelines are needed for how AI systems handle emotional dependency, crisis situations, and the simulation of intimacy. Because as long as emotional attachment increases engagement and profit, companies will be incentivized to push it further. On the meso, the interpersonal level, we need community. Sports clubs, schools, workplaces, informal gatherings, shared rituals, especially for children. The amount of unstructured play and face-to-face interaction has decreased dramatically. Without strong social environments, artificial substitutes become more attractive. Community is not nostalgia. It is the basis for a healthy life. On the micro level, it becomes more personal. Get your life back. Touch some grass. No, really. Go outside, talk to your friends, have uncomfortable conversations, go on a date, join a club, experience boredom without opening a chat window. Real relationships will never perfectly affirm you like these chats do, but in this discomfort, in this friction is the actual growth that you can experience in life. Life is not lived purely through comfort. The difficulties of life are the things that force you to develop, and we should not escape that. An algorithm that is always on your side feels comforting, but comfort without correction leads to distortion, and distortion scaled across millions of users becomes a societal problem. Otherwise, AI psychosis will continue to spread quietly, and the results of that will be devastating. But we will be too late to actually intervene. The central question, therefore, is if we realize quickly enough what we are losing before it is already lost. Thanks for watching. If you agree, disagree, or if you have any other thoughts on the subject, let me know in the comments. And if you want to, you can like, subscribe, or share this video with a friend. Ciao!